Bernie Lietz is next, Chief Operating Officer at Corbett, Duncan, and Hubley. Bernie, when I asked him for a few comments about what he was going to be talking about, sent me this link from a story from Goldman Sachs, which I asked him today. I wasn't sure if it was a joke or not, and he's going to kind of explain what it was all about. It turns out it wasn't, and it was very serious, and it plays right into his comments today about finding talented people in today's market and people's expectations and how do we keep those folks. Bernie?
Good afternoon. As I'm hearing encouraging news about the economy and trends, one of the things that I see coming is that as businesses continue to grow, the war for talent is going to be back on, and people are going to be looking for their best opportunities. And what that really means is people are looking for a purpose that they can connect to with their organization, and they're looking for an organization that knows how to manage them and knows how to connect with them. And the blog post that Jim was referring to that I saw regarding Goldman Sachs was they actually had a policy for their junior associates where they forbid them to work on Saturdays, including monitoring remote logins in case anybody was cheating. And in addition to that, you were required to take your 3 weeks of vacation, and that was going to be monitored, and you would be punished if you don't take your vacation. So how ridiculous is that? I'm seeing trends with larger companies sort of leading like Best Buy and Yahoo, where there's sort of this all hands on deck mentality. And I certainly can't tell them how to run their business, but I really think what people need and expect is to be told not when and not where they need to work, but what results do they need to get done, and by when do they need to get those done? So everybody, talks about the idea of work-life balance. Work-life balance is kind of gone, and it's really about work-life blending. Everybody who has a cell phone or a laptop, and, makes calls outside of the office, works at home in their lazy boy, whatever the case may be, knows that the lines between work and life have completely blurred. And the more you try to manage that, the more stress you're going to cause. So you have to embrace that. So organizations that haven't figured out how to manage that with their people are really going to be at a disadvantage. I see a lot of policy making relative to flexible work. And really what a flexible work arrangement is we're going to tell you what's permissible in terms of working alternative hours. So you can come in earlier and leave earlier, but we still want you to work the same amount of time. Face time is not what gets results. People sitting in their desks in your office is not going to get results. I manage a CPA firm. I network with a lot of other managers of CPA firms. And I heard a question come up today, which is, are people requiring Saturday hours during the busy season for accountants? And, my answer to that is, well, is there work to be done? And if there's work to be done, people know when it needs to be completed, then they can decide when they need to work or not. But paying people to come in and sit in a chair in your office so that in case you have something to do or in case you have a question for them is really an antiquated way of working. It's old school and it's really going to turn people off. What businesses really need to focus on is what results do people need to get and how are you measuring that? And if you communicate those to people and give them the authority and the autonomy to make those decisions, companies are seeing more engagement, better productivity out of their people. People are actually working harder and they're getting better results, and that's because they're being treated like grown-ups. We don't use timesheets in our firm, and the question that I get asked a lot by people is, well, how do you manage your people if you don't know how much time they're working? And if you can't manage your people without a timesheet, then you don't know how to manage. You have to manage based on projects, outputs, and what does the customer want. So again, companies that are getting this right are seeing more engagement from their employees. They're getting better results. people are wanting to stay connected to these organizations. And as businesses grow, people are going to be looking for their best opportunities. And if you can't manage to this, if you don't have goals as an organization, you're not going to be able to compete and keep those people. Thank you.
Bernie, if I started using some of those terms like millennials, I would get very confused as to which age group is which. But could you just kind of address quickly some of these changes and trends in hiring and workplace practices? Does it come with the with the new generation, with the younger generations and their expectations?
Well, I think so. I think what the younger generation, the millennials, have grown up with technology. They've grown up with a different set of circumstances. They're connected everywhere and anywhere. And what we see is that people want to know. There's a lot of questions. Why am I doing what am I, why am I working on this? And what results do I need to get? So they do have a lot of questions, but if you can answer those questions and connect what you need them to do to a purpose and an expected result, then you're likely to get better results.
You and I were chatting a little bit before the meeting today. We were kind of talking about how this trend to work from any place has taken over, and I think if we talk to any realtors that we know, it's part of the cause of the vacancy rate in terms of commercial real estate. Would you agree with that?
Certainly. I mean, how many of us, drive to an office to connect to the internet and work, on the internet all day? And there's a speaker and thought leader that I follow named Rebecca Ryan, and she says work that can be done over a wire can be done anywhere. So, the days of managing people in seats are gone, and it's people can connect with their cell phones or their laptops or their iPads, and really, if you're doing knowledge work, that work can be done anywhere.
Do you think there's a management challenge, though, from those of us who are old school, that are kind of wondering if that person working at home is really working or doing the laundry?
Without question. I think the biggest barrier to people making these changes is the management within organizations that are managing the wrong things. So that without question, that's one of the biggest barriers.
Elliot, several people on the panel have said, well,